There's literally nothing good about this bill.
Well, that's how one state lawmaker describes the actions by some of her GOP colleagues and the governor following the quiet passing of a bill that changes trials across the state for defendants.
WDSU investigator Travers Mackle lets you know why the Democratic DA in New Orleans supports this controversial new law.
Each day at this courthouse, criminal defendants go before the 12 judges at Orleans Parish Criminal District Court, arguably the busiest courthouse in the state. Many are represented by the public defender, an office with leaders upset over a newly signed law.
Is a bad bill because it curtails people's right to choose their mode of trial.
Megan Garvey handles all policy matters at the Orleans Parish Public Defender's Office.
I think that there are ways in which this bill is unconstitutional.
But it's now law, signed by the governor last month, much to the behest of some local lawmakers.
There's literally nothing good about this bill.
The bill, which again is now law, prevents someone arrested and charged with a crime like murder, rape, robbery, and drug dealing from just waiving a jury trial and electing to have their trial go before a judge. If they want to do that, and the prosecution does not agree, the defendant's case is assigned to a new judge. The reason this is necessary? Well, here's the Lafayette-based state rep who wrote the bill that became law.
Defendants would randomly get assigned a very lenient judge. And when I say lenient judge, I'm not talking about you get 6 months instead of a year. Judges were completely dismissing charges and letting people off on very substantial charges.
As WDSU Investigates first reported last year, some judges in New Orleans were handling an abnormally high number of judge trials with a high number of acquittals in those bench trials, as they're called in legal circles. This man caught bringing a shiv into jail, acquitted by a judge, despite this video. This man admitting to a domestic violence battery on camera, found guilty by a judge, but on a much reduced charge.
Judges with cases of clear evidence of guilt, but resulting in acquittals, should be scrutinized.
Our report last year in May of 2025, catching the attention of the governor, who blasted the process, and then this year backed legislation to cut down the number of judges in New Orleans. GOP lawmakers say this is all necessary to stop what they call liberal judges with agendas.
Upholding the integrity of the criminal justice system is what motivated this, because once we lose that, once people don't trust the system, then we might as well not have a criminal justice system anymore.
I mean, they want to keep people in prison. They want more people found guilty. They don't really care about the speediness of the process.
And lawmakers say District Attorney Jason Williams backed the bill as it was being heard in the session.
But he did send testimony to the committee and reach out to the Attorney General's office, and also dropped a floor note for all of the Orleans delegation when we were voting it on the floor, that he was in favor of this bill.
Does it surprise you the DA didn't stand in the way of this bill?
The Orleans delegation in the House was caught flat-footed when the representative who filed this said that our district attorney worked with him on it. We were beyond shocked when we heard that. We were not told about it in advance.
Louisiana now joining 34 other states, requiring criminal defendants to seek prosecutors' permission to have a judge trial or have the case reallotted to another section. The watchdog agency, Metropolitan Crime Commission, doesn't have any issues with the law change.
This legislation balances the scales of justice.
But some feel it's just more Baton Rouge legislation targeting New Orleans.
This gives so much power to the prosecution, clogs up the docket, and like I said, probably violates 2 constitutional rights.
At this time, there are no legal challenges to this bill that was signed into law last month. Let's send it back to you all.